going on, everybody? Steve V here with another video. Hope everybody's doing well out there. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a bit of a spin-off off the last video that I just did, where I asked the community, do you feel that Arcade1Up is burning a bridge with their hardcore fan base regarding these current re-releases? Because a lot of these titles have not really been out for a long period of time, and a lot of us spent our hard-earned money on the original cabinets that are now getting upgrades. So in that video, I kind of said my opinions, and opinions that I felt were kind of close to the way a lot of other people that I talked to felt. I realize it's kind of 50-50. Some people don't feel the same way I did, but there are some people that do. But the one thing that I did think of was maybe there's some titles that Arcade1Up could have re-released where it would have been a little bit more welcome within the community, because it's titles that we haven't seen in a while. I know I mentioned the Golden Tea cabinet in my last video, saying that was actually a well-timed re-release because of the fact that Golden Tea came out in 2019. So now that a new version is coming out in 2022, people are actually hungry for that upgrade. They want that upgrade. So there's 5 titles that I thought of that I actually felt that if Arcade1Up does a re-release of these cabinets, the reception would be a lot better because there's actually a hunger for that upgrade. And it's a cabinet that maybe some people missed out on because they kind of got into Arcade1Up a little bit late. Maybe they own the original cabinet and that cabinet's maybe not working as well. Or maybe they just want some Wi-Fi, or they want maybe a better form factor, or whatever the reasoning is. Maybe an upgraded version of any of these 5 cabinets that I'm about to say would be a welcome thing within our community. So that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. The other side of the coin, where, like I said in my last video, I wasn't mad about the re-releases of the cabinets. I was mad at the timeline of the re-releases. So in this video, I thought it would be kind of fun to think of what cabinets would actually be appropriate to re-release at this time, because the timeline would make sense. So that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. And I'll start with number 1 right now. Okay, so the first cabinet that I think would be a great re-release by Arcade1Up would be the Frogger cabinet. Now, Frogger is one of my favorite games. I ended up buying the original cabinet, but that cabinet had some flaws, and there was a lot of people in the community that just thought that cabinet was a travesty because they changed up a lot of stuff. They changed up the song, but that was not an Arcade1Up situation. That was something that changed a long time ago. The original song that the Frogger game had, they couldn't use. I don't know if it was like some type of lullaby or something like that, but it was a song that just could not be used for licensing purposes. So they ended up changing that song quite a while ago. So Arcade1Up is just using the Frogger ROM with the song that is now used, and has probably been used for like the last 20 years or so. But the look of the cabinet was something that probably could have actually looked more similar to the way the original cabinet looked. But for whatever reason, Konami decided to just take a completely different take. And that's where problems started kind of happening, where people were just like, this cabinet's terrible, because we already have the song situation that unfortunately could not be changed. But then on top of that, you change the look of the cabinet. It just made no sense. Even myself, I've put a decal on my Frogger cabinet to make it look a little more similar to the way the original cabinet looks. So, you know, it's one of those things where I think if Arcade1Up would re-release the Frogger cabinet, whether it would be as a Konami Legacy cabinet, or even with just the 3 games that they put on the original Frogger cab, but they actually gave it the proper look and form factor of an original Frogger cabinet, I think that would sell really well, and would kind of get people back into maybe wanting a Frogger cabinet in their collection. So the second cabinet that I think would be a great re-release on Arcade1Up's part is the Rampage cabinet. Now, I understand the Rampage game is on the Midway Legacy cabinet, but I know there are a lot of big Rampage fans out there, and that cabinet itself has a unique look about it because of the fact that it has the 3 joysticks, and it's just a game that a lot of people love. So I thought it would be kind of cool if Arcade1Up did a re-release of that cabinet, but maybe changed up the games a little bit. And maybe got a beefier chip so they can run Rampage World Tour as well. They can even maybe use that artwork and form factor for that cabinet. So you could have those two games, and then maybe throw Gauntlet back on there, maybe Gauntlet 2. It could be a 4-game cabinet. Or more. Obviously, it would be nice if they could find some more games to throw on there. But either way, if they could at least have Rampage World Tour and Rampage on a cabinet that looked like a Rampage cabinet, I feel like that would be a winner, and it would be something that a lot of people would also want in their arcades. So the third cabinet that I think would be a great re-release on Arcade1Up's part would be Space Invaders. Now, Space Invaders is a cabinet that they came out with really early on. It only had 2 games, Space Invaders and Space Invaders Color. But if Arcade1Up were to re-release that cabinet, give it the proper form factor, which is that boxy looking form factor, give it a recessed screen, and added a few more games on there, maybe even made it a Taito Legacy cabinet, so you would get games like Bubble Bobble and stuff like that on there, I think it would sell really well. Space Invaders is a very important game in the arcade folklore, so a lot of people are probably looking forward to maybe adding that to their collection. I used to have the Countercade. I had a blast with it for the short time that I had it. But yeah, a 3/4 scale Space Invaders cabinet with a proper form factor, and like I said, more games, because just having Space Invaders and Space Invaders Color isn't really enough, because they're basically the same game, just one's colored. You want to have more on that cabinet. So if they were to do that cabinet and add more games, proper form factor, maybe Wi-Fi for leaderboards, I think it would sell well, and that's why I think it would make a great re-release. So the fourth cabinet that I think would make a great re-release is Burger Time. Now, Arcade1Up basically hit it out of the park with the original cabinet. They really paid homage to the side art and form factor of that cabinet. They got the perfect cut of Peter Pepper's chef hat. They even had the marquee kind of tilted the way the original cab had it. They really did a great job with that cabinet. But the problem was, because they also had Karate Champ in the cabinet, they had to have 4 joysticks, where the original Burger Time only had 1 joystick. So if they were to re-release Burger Time, but just have the 1 joystick and maybe put Burger Time, Super Burger Time, and Peter Pepper's Ice Cream Factory, because all those games are just Burger Time and then 2 sequels, I think that would be a great cabinet. It could be a cabinet that could also be sold through the website, because I know that's a cabinet that probably a lot of retailers wouldn't carry it, but it could be a cabinet that could be bought direct, and to have it look completely authentic to the way the original cabinet looked, I feel like it would sell well, and it would make a lot of people happy to have the proper control deck with the 1 joystick on there. I know for me, that was the one thing that was a little bit of a letdown when I had my Burger Time cabinet. The fact that I had the 4 joysticks and I had to play with the furthest left one, it was a little bit of an annoyance. It would have been nice if they had the joystick in the middle, the way that the original cab had. So the last cabinet that I think would make a great re-release, specifically if they re-release it as a Pro, is the Atari Star Wars cabinet. Now, that cabinet was pretty much perfect. I mean, they really nailed that cabinet. The yoke worked perfectly. You know, great 3 games. It had that authentic shape and side art. But if they were to do the Pro, so that means you wouldn't have the riser. It would just be all one piece. They would have the proper kick plates, so you wouldn't have the name logos on there. It'd be a taller and wider cabinet. And then you get all the bells and whistles, the seat, the mat, the tin sign, all that stuff. I think it would just sell really well. And it would be a cabinet that a lot of people would gladly sell their 3/4 version to replace it with that. Because there's a lot of Star Wars fans out there. And right now, Star Wars is really, I mean, it never went away, but it is really making a comeback with these amazing Disney Plus shows that they're coming out with. So I think an Atari Star Wars cabinet done as a Pro would be a great re-release, and something that a lot of people would be welcome as far as spending money on to upgrade, and then obviously they would have to get rid of their 3/4 version, or maybe even keep that and have them side by side. I just think it would do really well, and that would be one that a lot of people would actually be pretty happy to see a pro re-released version of, because that is a cabinet that deserves to be a pro cabinet. That's a cabinet that deserves to have all the bells and whistles and money invested in it to really make it a well-built cabinet, even though Arcade1Up did really well with building that 3/4 scale version. I mean, that one is probably the best built as far as just quality, and I haven't heard too many people complaining of that yoke. I mean, that yoke seems to be pretty well made. So great job on Arcade1Up's part, and definitely a cabinet that would be a great re-release as a pro. Thanks for watching the video, you guys. I hope, you know, this video is a little bit of the other side of the coin, like I said, because, you know, re-releasing cabinets is great, but at a timely manner. If it's a cabinet that has, you know, only been out for a year and then you're doing an upgraded version, I don't really see the need of that, and I don't really know what your market is. Obviously, maybe you're trying to get some new customers in. But for us hardcore fans, to re-release cabinets that have not been out, you know, titles that have not been out for a while, that, you know, a couple years have gone by and we haven't seen that title, maybe it's not available through retailers anymore, and then you do an upgraded version, you know, as a 3/4 scale or as an XL or a Pro, we'll get excited about that, because some of us missed out on some of these cabinets and we would love a second chance to get them, or just a chance to upgrade the version that we have. Thanks for watching the video, you guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.